a very big game for the Miami Dolphins as we face the Buffalo Bills this weekend. You can't get much more of a test than the Buffalo Bills. I think they're the Super Bowl. They should be the Super Bowl favorites at this point, and a lot of people's going into the season. Both teams coming off of a crazy good week. The Bills obliterating the Titans on Monday Night Football, and the Dolphins, of course, with their insane comeback against the Ravens. And Tua and Josh Allen, I think that those are the top two guys leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns, or at least top five for those two stats. And the receiving yards, the top three guys leading the league, which is number one Tyreek Hill, number two Stephon Diggs, number three Jalen Waddle, are all going to be on the same field. This one's going to have potential to be the game of the week, so I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm recording this video on a Wednesday night, so I only have the Wednesday participation status on the injury reports. I'm going to be busy this week, not going to be able to record, and I obviously need to get this preview for this game out. One of the biggest games of the season for sure. So, like I said, only have the Wednesday participation for the injury report, but we're going to have to get through. Things may not be fully accurate, and, it may affect some things, but starting out with the Dolphins from today's injury reports practices, the guys who didn't participate: Teron Armstead, Sathin Carter, Xavier Howard, Melvin Ingram, and Hunter Long. Limited was Channing Tindall and Cedric Wilson Jr., and then full participants: Alec Ingold, Raekwon Davis, and Tanner Connor. This injury report is a little bit concerning. I think Teron Armstead is going to be fine. He needs to stay off. He was really pushing through that toe injury, but we needed him to finish out that game in Baltimore. But I think we should expect him to be limited on Thursday and probably limited again on Friday, if not full, but I don't really expect that to be the case. But I do think that Teron Armstead will end up playing. Sathin Carter, if he plays, great. If he doesn't, it's not the biggest thing. I'm not too worried about that. Xavier Howard, though, the groin injury suddenly acting up now that we face Stephon Diggs this week, isn't it? We're going to need him to play, because especially if Gabe Davis plays, we'll get to the Bills injury report in a second, but Gabe Davis was out Monday Night Football, and there's a really good chance that I think if he plays this week, and with Byron Jones being out and Nick Needham hasn't been too good this year so far, we're going to need Xavier Howard to play especially. And even if he doesn't do the best job completely locking Stephon Diggs up, it's apparent that nobody else in the league can, so going to need him to play this game. Melvin Ingram, vet rest, he's out. I think it's fine. He should be able to play. Hunter Long, same thing. If he plays, great. If he doesn't, not going to be a huge loss. Channing Tindall may be the key to stopping Josh Allen. He could get some playing time if he plays. He was out last week because of the illness. But I would not be surprised if we saw him hit the field a couple times just to throw him in there as a QB spy. I know Josh Boyer was definitely the guy who was behind the pick of Channing Tindall in the third round, and with the idea of using him against the Bills, obviously playing them twice a year, you're gonna need to win one of those games, and Sunday may be the game to win, especially in Miami. Cedric Wilson with the ribs injury, he was hit pretty hard, did not return to the game. McDaniel said he's not really sure what the case is going to be about this Sunday, so interesting to see what that will turn into. And Tanner Connor, Raekwon Davis, and Alec Ingold, do expect them all to play with no issues. But on the Bills side, this list is pretty long. The guys who didn't participate: Micah Hyde, Dane Jackson. Prayers up to Dane Jackson, took a really, really gruesome hits on Monday Night Football. Dawson Knox, and also Jordan Phillips, which is not too encouraging for Bills fans. Limited is Gabe Davis, Mitch Morse, Ed Oliver, Jordan Poyer, Tim Settle, and then full participants: Matt Milano, Cam Lewis, Matt Milano. Those guys are going to play. The most notable one being Matt Milano out of those two. But the top safety duo in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, those two guys, Micah Hyde went to the hospital as well after the game against the Titans 2 nights ago. So that is going to be something to watch for. Again, it kind of sucks that I'm recording this before because I really don't know who's going to play and who's not. But I think either way, this Bills defense is still going to be energetic with, like I said, Matt Milano is going to be playing for sure. And Von Miller, and then you're going to have Trey White's going to be out this game, and the Bills' cornerback depth has been taking a few hits on the injury side. So I mean, it's definitely not the best thing considering you're playing against two of the fastest receivers, if not the two fastest receivers in the NFL, in the Cheetah and the Penguin. Um, so it would suck for the Bills if Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are going to be out. I think if anything, they are going to need at least one of those two to win. But yeah. Now moving on to the best part of the video. Well, the best part I think is the prediction. So in a bit, but the Dolphins obviously were always the mediocre team in this division. First it was the Patriots, Tom Brady, just a complete dynasty in the AFC East, and then Josh Allen came along. And now the Bills are the top team in this division. The Dolphins have just been second for the past couple of years, third last year, with the Patriots doing great for some reason. But this is going to be a big game. Tua and Josh Allen both spoke highly of each other, which sportsmanship, whatever. But it's going to be a fun matchup to see. Now, the one thing I was worried about is playing against a team like the Bills, or even a team like the Ravens or the Chiefs or Packers, Niners, whatever. Would the Dolphins be able to compete in a shootout? If defenses are really not the key to this game and, the offenses are just going back and forth, scoring the ball, would the Dolphins and Tua, obviously the head of that, be able to lead the Dolphins to consistently be scoring drive in and drive out? And what we got from that Ravens game is the answer is yes. 28-3, 4 straight drives with touchdowns, and obviously those 4 touchdowns were the 4 in the fourth quarter. And that really showed me that the answer is yes. And yes, the Bills defense the Ravens defense may have just collapsed completely, and he could have been throwing to open receivers, which is what a lot of people are now saying, just to find a way to hate on Tua. But I think the answer we found is yes. Not necessarily saying that I think the Dolphins are going to be in a shootout with the Bills this Sunday, but if it comes to that point, I think we know that the Dolphins have what it takes to be able to compete in that situation. But like I said, the game's coming down here to Miami. Not too hot up in Buffalo, not too used to the weather. So I'm hoping it's burning. I'm hoping it's as hot as a mother. Patriots were cramping, and obviously the heat was a big issue for them. They had those guys on the sidelines holding up the whatever it's called, the things covering their heads for the sun. Obviously the fans are on full speed all game. And the Bills are going to be brutal out there. I hope it's not a cloudy day. I hope it's like 90 degrees. Dolphins are obviously used to this weather, and their sidelines in the shade, so it's not that much of an issue. But these two teams are also passing. These two teams are also passing teams. They have somewhat of a run game. I think the Dolphins have a better run game than the Bills do. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss and James Cook. I take Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert over them any day. Even Alec Ingold if you want to throw him in there. But yeah, I really think the Dolphins have the edge with the rushing game. Now when it comes to the defenses, it's tough because we don't really know who's playing yet. But I think if everyone's healthy, I'm probably going to be going with the Bills. But especially with the top corner like Trey White being out for this game, it's going to be tough for this team to compete with, like I said, two of the fastest guys in the NFL. Now, Xavier Howard, I'm really hoping he can play, because if not, who's guarding Stephon Diggs? I don't think it's going to be Nick Needham, because he's going to be the slot guy, basically probably going to be guarding Gabe Davis, who's I think is going to be playing, or a guy like Jamison Crowder. But I think that, Kader Kohu or Keon Crossan is going to... Man, no hate against those guys. Had great games last week, or previous 2 weeks, but they're just inexperienced. And a corner like Xavier Howard knows... He's played against Stephon Diggs multiple times. Hasn't gone very well, but at least he can slow him down. I never have the keys to the game really planned out, so I kind of just say whatever comes to my mind. I'll see if I have any other things that come to my mind while I'm talking, but the main thing is do not let Josh Allen extend the play. Like I said, the main guy I'm looking for who could potentially play, if he's even active, is Channing Tindall, who, coming out of Georgia, really wasn't the strongest guy in coverage, probably the fastest linebacker in the draft. And obviously, what are you going to do with the fastest linebacker? Put him as a QB spy. He made plays on QBs like Bryce Young last year. Made the QBs look like they were running in quicksand, and he could just track the ball. He would be on one side of the field and end up getting all the way to the other side and stopping the play by himself. He was the last player picked from this Georgia defense out of all of them that were picked. So he's got some motivation, I guess. I think he was active in week 1, didn't really play at all, and then was not active in week 2. Definitely would not be surprised. I think he will be active in week 3, and I would not be surprised if we saw him hit the field a couple times. But in history, we know the Dolphins are not good at facing mobile quarterbacks. That includes Lamar Jackson. We definitely saw that last week. Kyler Murray from that game into his rookie year. Josh Allen's obviously one of those guys. Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen is really just the guy that's been torching the Dolphins since he's came into the NFL. I can't even remember the last time the Dolphins won. Got swept last year, blown out both games. The year before, Dolphins did not win any of those. It's been a while since the Dolphins won a game versus Buffalo, and especially, it really sucks to me when the schedule came out. I was really hoping that we would face Buffalo at their place earlier in the season, and then we come back to Miami down in December or something, where it's still even going to be hot at that time, because welcome to South Florida. But unfortunately, we play them now in September, which is, I guess it's okay because it's going to be burning. But now we have to go up to Buffalo and play them in the middle of December, and that's going to be a really cold game. So I think if you want to take a game from Buffalo this year, it's going to have to be this game. And look, I'm not going to be surprised if we lose this game because it's the Super Bowl favorites we're talking about, but it would really suck if the Dolphins got blown out in this game. I'm looking for, if we lose in a one possession game, like, I'm not going to be too mad, depending on how we play, obviously, but I'm just looking to see this team compete with the Super Bowl favorites. We know that Tua is kind of on a hot streak right now after the 6 touchdowns last week. But I think the whole entire key is trying to figure out a way to stop Josh Allen, because you want to win this game. You're probably not going to go up to Buffalo and beat them in that cold weather in the middle of December. So I think if you want to beat this team this week is going to be the week. And one thing I'm also going to say is we haven't seen it much this season, but you need to make teams pay for their blitzes. Now, if the team is blitzing, and I'm talking especially about the Buffalo Bills because we saw them do that. The only thing they did opening the game in week 2 in the 2021 season was blitz. And obviously that led to Tua getting injured. But obviously the O-line sucked last year. So if they brought any more than 4 guys, you already knew Tua would have less than 1.5 seconds to throw the ball. I think that's going to be different. The pass protection was really, really solid last week. So I'm looking forward to see what they do, because I think the Bills know that if they blitz, there's a risk that if Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle is in a one-on-one, you could be giving up 6 right on that play. So, and obviously Tyreek Hill knows how to track a ball down, even if it's a bit underthrown. We all know that he's capable of catching that ball and making a play, making an insane play out of it. So the Bills are going to have to watch what they do, and I think that they know that it's a really big risk if they blitz. Like I said, haven't seen it much because I think teams know that it's a really big risk, but I think the Bills are definitely going to be bound to. I think they're going to be thinking based off of last season, if you put pressure on him, he's going to make mistakes just like he did a ton last season, but with the 32nd best O-line in the NFL, which means worse, obviously, he doesn't have much time to throw the ball, even if they bring 2 to 3 guys. So bringing 6 or 7 obviously is not going to make his day any better. But I think McDaniel knows that he may be drawing up some, quick outlet plays if he needs to, if they bring any blitzes. But we'll see what happens. Score prediction time. I think I said the Dolphins were going to win by 7 points. Maybe actually, I think I said the Dolphins were going to win by 4 points, which was correct. But I said the Dolphins were going to win 23 to 22-18. Obviously, it was 42-38. I was not expecting that. But this one's tough. This one's really tough, especially after seeing the Dolphins put up almost 50 points last week. I'm going to go 31-28, and the Dolphins win this game. Now, I may sound stupid if the Bills win. I wouldn't sound stupid because it's a Dolphins fan here. Like, I'm going to pick my team to win. I think that we have a legitimate chance. And I know that they're the best of the best, which is why this game is going to be so valuable for our season. We get a real taste of what our team is going to be looking like. Really praying on no injuries, of course, every game for both sides. But yeah, 31-28 is going to be my prediction. Potentially a type of game-winning field goal from Jason Sanders, something like that. But that'll wrap up. Looking really forward to this game. This could be the game of the week, and who knows, maybe overcome last week as the game of the year. Probably not, though. Looking forward to seeing this Bills team. Hopefully, they're not going to be on that elite level. Maybe they have an off day. I would love for that to happen, but we'll see what happens. See you in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.